Hello, ladies. We'll be getting started 1 minute after the hour.
Poor thing.
They had it like
Wait,
that.
hold on. I'm not muted. Whoops.
Let me mute all of you ladies. Hello, ladies. Lauren, I'm so glad to see you here. Amber Rose, like some of my ladies that are in my programs, Kati, because you're going to get something out of this. So I'm glad you came. So we're going to start 1 minute after the hour. Give people time to hop on. This is, unlike my other sessions, I always do replays. And I was like, I'm not doing a replay for this one. If you want to come and receive, you get on here at this time when I get on. And I'm seeing some familiar faces. Hello, ladies. So if you want to say hello in the chat or what you want to get from today, so we can kind of get into this energy and get our energy bigger, I'd love to hear. I was watching, and 1 second, I'm going to pause this. My team is writing me right now. I was watching this documentary called Surviving Death on Netflix. Has anyone watched it? It's interesting. But when they do the seance to do a physical mediumship, so not the mediums that just hear things, actually bring on a physical manifestation of spirits and things like that, they all have to sing and get the energy big. And I love that they have to do that because they're saying that the medium cannot cultivate this and pick up on these spirits and get the spirit to have this physical manifestation if the group is not singing and doing the things, participating. And I was thinking, this is the same thing in one of these events, is the same thing in my mastermind, same thing in all the groups. It's the same thing when you go to a church and, you know, like I know in 2 different places I go to, spiritual centers, the people that are talking, the pastor, the spiritual teacher, they're like, come on, like, help me get started. Because when people are hype, the momentum is there. And it just is this big, you know, we're co-creating. So I wanted to share that with you because I thought it was cool. Hi, April. So good to see you showing up for your highest self. And Donna, I saw your text, but I couldn't respond. It's fine. I don't need to look at that one. I need to look at that email. So thank you. And Jane, I'm here for anything. Oh, I love it. Well, look, today is going to be something unique. Whenever I come on here and share something, it's because I have something different I want to share. It's a different kind of conversation. This particular conversation is for the women that are already having some money coming in. There's already some level of success, but you know you're meant to go somewhere else. You know you're meant to go beyond. You know that you are playing small in some way, shape, or form. And I have to tell you all a story. This past week, I just did not feel like myself. And I was getting so like frustrated. I was like, do I need to go on another trip? Like, what do I need to do? And then I realized, no, I don't. This isn't something I need to go somewhere to try to fix it. There's something in this information for me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going through an expansion. There's a lot of good things happening. Income breakthroughs are happening, but I was like, something feels off. And it was bothering me and it almost felt down, but yet at the same time, my energy felt very fast. And I was feeling that and I was like, what is this? So I just kept sitting with it, kept asking, feeling the things. And I realized that I was needing to surrender and step into this container of myself that was going to take me to where I said I was going to go this year. If I'm going to have my first $1 million year, I need to shift some things. I need to do some things differently. My team needs to do some things differently. And I'm making big investments. There's all these things that are happening. And it was just like this internal feeling. And funny enough, I got with one of my clients that are in the Miracle Vision Mastermind. And I met with her and I was like, oh, I recognize this energy. This energy is what happens to us when we're on the precipice of a breakthrough. It is this energy that represents us being in sort of a cocoon, and internally you just feel like, I just know that something's about to happen. I know that something's moving, but I don't know where it's taking me. There's something that's going on. How many of you have felt that at some point in time? You may even feel like you're going crazy. Well, we are in a full moon. So so Kia says she's feeling that now. So when we have this, there's like this chaos that happens when we're in the midst of a rebirth, right? You think of birth when a woman is going and having a child, it is messy, it's emotional. Sometimes it's just crazy and you need support, you need people, you need to not do it on your own. And I think about this for women as we are facilitating our own rebirths. And this is so important to remember that we are facilitating our own rebirths constantly. If you are a woman that is constantly evolving and you are surrendering to your big evolution, it's a constant thing. It may not be every day that you're like, I'm in it, I'm going all in, da da da. There's going to be seasons and cycles, but throughout your year, you should notice a few times where you feel like, wow, what has been is not nourishing me anymore. What was my big goal is not it anymore. There's a shift happening. So we're going to talk about that today. And we're also going to talk about what it looks like to really say yes to that goal, to say yes to that intention. I don't even like using the word goal that much because sometimes it feels like these empty things that are very in like the old masculine way of women doing business. It's really about your intention and knowing that when you have a certain intention to show up as a certain version of you, things start falling in line. Like you get the downloads, you are clear, you wake up thinking about the things, right? You start manifesting the opportunities, the invitations. And I also want to talk about this, that it's not always easy. I just started a mastermind. The ladies have just kind of gotten into this group this week. And several of them have reached out to me because they're like having imposter syndrome. They're having like, oh my God, this is big for me. And this is what happens when we put ourselves in unfamiliar territory. And when we get vulnerable and we say, hey, I'm here to do something big, but part of me doesn't feel like I'm ready yet. So all of these are natural kind of progression. These are all natural of being a human. The other thing that we're going to touch on, or I'm going to touch on it at least right here, is I want you to know that every person I've ever met, all the podcasts I listened to, even going to Oprah's event and hearing from Oprah, who was like the queen, right? To me, she has imposter syndrome or times where she doesn't feel good enough or pretty enough or smart enough or like she belongs. We all feel it. And if we can just make peace with this very human aspect of showing up to shine, it changes the game. Because we take ourselves out of this comparison, we're comparing ourselves with the incomparable. There's no other you. And we have to make peace with that so that we don't run around trying to prove everything to other people. We're not trying to prove something to ourselves. We are not trying to look at what else they're doing and thinking, how could I do that? It's really learning to look within and ask, how can I express what's here for me? And I feel like this is where we're all going. So ladies, if you've been with me before, you know what we're about to do. We're going to go in and do some breath. We're going to do some meditating. We're just going to really ground and anchor. Natalie, so good to see you, love. And I see Sarmar, I see so many of you. So I'm just so grateful that we get to share this space on a Friday. I woke up super excited for it. So let's close our eyes and just find a place where you're sitting up, but yet you are very comfortable to let go. And you feel safe to just close your eyes and let everything fall away. And when you find that place, I want you to begin taking breaths in a way that signal to your body it's safe to settle. It's safe to let go. And I want you to notice where your breath is right now. Is it shallow? Is it in the chest? Is it above the ribs? Or is it deep? And if it's not deep into the belly and your belly is not expanding out when you inhale, take your breath deeper. Take your breath deeper because it's going to change your biochemistry and it's going to shift your state of being. Go ahead and deepen that breath. It's as if with your breath, you are taking yourself inward. With each inhale, you're going deeper inside. There's information in there for you. There's wisdom here for you. Wisdom that's one of a kind. So now I want you to expand your awareness with your breath and take the breath so wide, so deep, that you can even feel it in your lower back. Your lower back is expanding. And practice, as you take these deep breaths, holding it just for a second at the top. Allowing your body to relax even more. And depending on your week, depending on your day, you may need to have a full exhale out of the mouth. And otherwise, keep the inhale and exhalation through the nose. And now focusing on your full torso, your lower back, your upper back, your sides, your belly, your chest, letting everything balloon out and fully be in relaxed receiving mode with your inhale. Hold it at the top. Let it fortify you, and then slowly exhaling just as fully let go. Finding your rhythm, your flow, moving into a meditative, receptive state through this breath. Now, one more expansion with this breath. I want you to take it, if you can, below the hips. Take it into the pelvis, take it into the womb. And as you exhale, fully being conscious of the exhaling, releasing, letting go from all the way down into that womb space as well, to that pelvic region. Now, just to make space, we're going to add in one more expansion. It just came to me, so bear with me. We're going to almost cat-cow with this, but gently, subtly, just to get your back and your belly open. So inhaling, you may just feel a slight, your chest moves out, your belly moves out, and then exhaling. Find your own rhythm and flow, but we want to invite in some dynamic kind of movement into this in your own way. Just see what that feels like for you. Maybe it's just your shoulders. Maybe it's just your chest gets a little proud. Maybe your belly and your back just kind of let go a bit. Play with it. And invite in a neck roll. Moving one way at first. And then moving another way. Moving your shoulders. And then coming back into a place of stillness and intention. And I want you to prepare yourself for our time together. Prepare yourself by signaling that it's time to listen or to hear something that you've never heard before, that you're willing to know something that you've never known before. that you're willing to remember something that you've forgotten. Have that prayer within yourself, prime your subconscious, invite in your angels and guides. Whatever you do, do it now. And when you've let that prayer be, just have a moment to sit in gratitude for you already know. When you ask, it's given. So have gratitude for what's to come. Taking a moment to be with yourself, knowing that you are already on your path, that you are already perfect, whole, and complete, and that you're not here to get something you're missing. You're here to wake up to something that's outside of your awareness right now. You're waking up to what's already here. And in that sense, we get to soften our hearts, let down the armor, and invite in a playful curiosity and a willingness to see, to feel, to experience, and to remember. So we set this prayer free, knowing that it's already done, and so it is. And when you're ready, my friends, you can come back and meet me here in our Zoom room. How does everyone feel now? Were you able to loosen up a bit? Do you feel the armor just letting go a little bit? And that's the thing for women that are doing big work. You know, it's one thing to get to $10,000 a month, right? There's that goal for like the newbie entrepreneurs, or maybe you've been into it for a while. But I want to take you beyond that. Jane says more open to receiving fully now. Natalie says feeling more ease. Even me, right? Ashley says so much better now. Like so much better. So this is the like basis of how I coach and teach. Is everything is about embodiment. Everything is about going into a space of ease. Thinking is actually not the way, right? Thinking is what we do once we already have got the insight, the download. We've got to make space, because when we're always thinking and forcing, what we're doing is saying, back up, God, I got it. My plan is superior to yours. Let me get in here and do everything and figure out the how. And my thing is, let's stop micromanaging the divine. You didn't get yourself out of your mother's womb and put all the cells together and get all the fluids out of nothing. No. So in that same sense, your A to D or A to Z business plan is not going to be all figured out by you. You are the receiver. You are the channel. So it's going to come through you and emerge through you. You have to make sure that you are clear, open, willing. And one thing I want to just share, because I wrote down some notes, but of course this came through when I was in this meditation. One of the most dangerous, detrimental parts of those of us that have already hit the $100,000 mark in our business or have done some things is you think, well, I already did that, so I'm good. And you may try to do the things on your own. For instance, I'm writing my second book, and it just hit me yesterday that if I'm really serious about this goal, that what did I do last time that I got my book done and was so dedicated? I hired support. I had an editor, I had a book coach, I had people. Even though one didn't work out, the fact that I paid and there was that sense of accountability, I showed up for it differently. And this time I'm thinking, I'm already an author, I already wrote a book, I don't need that. Meanwhile, I'm like still talking about this damn book. So I'm like, well, maybe if I put some skin in the game, pay some money towards someone and I have to answer to them, I know I'm going to show up differently because that's going to really piss me off if I'm paying thousands of dollars and I don't show up. Does anyone relate to that? Right? So sometimes, right? It's like sometimes it's like it's not even about the coach. It's like you knowing that you put that extra effort and you don't want to let yourself down. So that was something that came to me yesterday. And it's just knowing that we have to look around and make this peace with ourselves that if we want to go to some place that we have not gone yet before, we have to do things that we have not done yet. And even if it seems like, well, I've already done that, there could be there's this something that you haven't done yet, right? And I'll even tell you this. I had 2 years of hitting 200-ish thousand in my business. In both of them, while the income was similar, the way that I worked that year was very different. One year I hustled my ass off. It was like I had no friends. I had no life. I was stressed out. And then the other year I was like, I barely worked. And it was different. There was a lot of space. I was like, wow, I feel like I'm retired some of the time, which I get bored in that time. But it's like it was interesting to see. So there's different ways we can do everything. And this alignment session that I want to have is about Miracle Vision. Because as we move in to 2021, and while there are, the world is saying it's uncertain times, there's a lot of stuff that's still very certain. The one thing that's very certain is there's people that are still buying things. There's people that are investing in their growth. There are people that are always, because of our natural impulse to progress, which is just an innate thing that's within all of us, we're always ready to hire someone to help us. We're always ready to hire someone to help us. If your business doesn't feel like it's connecting with people right now, you may be trying to do it an old way that no longer serves you or your people. And you may be being asked to pause. At any given time when stuff in my business didn't work out the way I wanted it to, meaning I did a launch and I wasn't excited about it, people weren't buying it, there was an evolution that was waiting to happen within me. And I had to take the time to be still enough to ask, what is out of alignment here? Even though my ego wants to be like, oh, you suck. Why is this not working? Like, you should get this better. And then, I would go out on these tangents, like maybe I should redo my website. Maybe I should get rebranding. That stuff doesn't matter. Not like the other stuff, not like this deeper stuff, right? So it's knowing that within you right now, there is like this forever blossoming flower, forever until you die. It's always inviting you to fully express more and more and more. There's something else. Even today's session is something I've never talked about in a way I've never done it. That thing, that process that we just did, it's unique to the other ones. I trust that every time I offer something, it's going to be slightly different, that I'm not going to run out of ideas or inspiration. And we have to fall into flow with this natural rhythm for us to be not only feeling abundant, but really allowing our full self to shine. Now, the one way that we have to do this is meeting the universe halfway. Miracle Vision requires you to do your part. And I want you to just sit with yourself for a moment. And I want you to rate yourself. You can share it here if you feel called to, or, you can just keep it to yourself. On a scale from 1 to 10, how deeply are you meeting the universe and doing your part? 1 is like, I don't do anything. I mean, you're here, so I think you all are ones, right? But the 10 is like, I'm doing all the things. I think I'm an 8. I'm an 8. There's things I could do, like me hiring the book coach, take me to 9. There's other things I can do because I just know that there's so much potential. So I'm not going to say I'm a 10 because I don't think I'm living fully in my potential. I'm not checking every box. So this is good to know because then it's an invitation to ask, how much am I really in me showing up for Miracle Vision, you showing up for your Miracle Vision is essentially saying, how deeply am I willing to meet my greatness, my excellence? And I feel for women, us meeting our excellence and greatness is a little bit different than how like the men have been talking about this for a while, right? It's like a lot of men have been teaching us about excellence and greatness, and it's been in a way that is very rigid. And that really doesn't support us having our moon time, bleeding, having children, doing all the things. So it's really finding what is this way of doing it in a more feminine way. And that is what we're all learning right now, because there's the flowy, like feminine out on the beach with the flower crown. I feel like I'm in between. Like I like to be in the boss bitch. I like to be in the CEO. I like to be in the goddess. I like to be in the queen. I play in all the archetypes, right? But what I know is if I focus on the excellence as something that has to be rigid, I wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. I eat this only. I don't think about my outfits. I'm going to miss out on my feminine power, which the feminine is extravagant. The feminine is playful. The feminine is curious. The feminine has power in the mystery, right? And this is why back in ancient times that the kings would go to the oracles, the women, and be like, what do you see for the future? What do you see for this? So we get to be both, which is pretty freaking exciting, right? But we have to be willing to do that. So I see a lot of 6s, of 7s, and it's like for Jessica, who's the 1 or 2. I don't know if I even know you, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm not sure which Jessica it is, but I will say this. If we're 1 or 2, for anyone that's feeling like that, forgive yourself right away. We don't want to, I'm not giving you these numbers to rate yourself and shame yourself. Please, no one do that. This is an honest assessment so that we can call ourselves into alignment with our highest and best. Because if we never take time and say, where am I? Right? What happens is there's this very subtle, not so good feelings because deep down, you know it. So whenever you're feeling anxious, depressed, just blah, not excited, this energy is inviting you to ask some deep questions. Something about the way you're living, showing up, working, receiving, playing is out of alignment. And we get to ask a question and adjust. And for me, this is what it's about for us. So going into this whole thing of where are you at in this alignment, I want to ask you this. For your biggest goals, for your juiciest, scary, like damn well it's going to change your life thing, right? Does everyone have one of those things? It's okay if you don't. I know some of you do, right? So for all of you that have it, it's like we know, but there's going to have to be another version of you that steps forth, like the phoenix rising, and the other stuff falls away. It has to fall away. It just doesn't serve you anymore. It's not who you are anymore. It was who you were. And maybe at one time it even served you. I like to use this analogy of, you could use a green smoothie. So I used to say milk, but I'm like, I don't even drink milk. That's disgusting. So, but let's say a green smoothie. I make you a green smoothie right now this morning. It's nourishing. It's going to taste good. You're going to be like, I'm getting healthy. Now, we let that same green smoothie sit out here for 2 weeks on my porch and I give it to you. It's going to poison you. You see that? So in one season and one time, something could nourish you, but in other times, it's actually poisoning you. And for all of us, we have things that we've outgrown and outdated, and it's actually weighing you down now. It's not of your highest and best use. This can be very startling for us because the natural way that we like to do is just collect more things. I'm just going to keep all these friends and add a new one in. I'm just going to keep doing all these things and then get to that place. But it's just not the way it works. So we have to make space for the miracle, right? So not only are we saying that we're going to meet the miracle halfway, I'm going to do my part, I'm showing up, I'm fully willing. And a lot of the times we have to show up fully willing and ready before we are even knowing where we're going fully. Like, there's that place, but you don't know all the steps. You don't know all the why. All you know is that you're being called to do a thing. I just see that Jane says, I feel ready to give up yoga classes, teaching yoga classes, right? So this is the kind of thing we have to start asking of like, where am I going? And now looking around, what is out of integrity with this person that I say I'm going to be? Which is what I did this last week. If I was like, I want to hit this level of income, I want to have this kind of impact in my world, I want to become this kind of CEO, this kind of behavior, this kind of communication, these things are not fitting. And that's the kind of self-love we have to have with ourselves. So just off of that, I want us to pause so that you can kind of receive this while it's here. Just off of intuition, some things may have hit your awareness, even if your ego doesn't like it yet, and you're not ready to commit yet, because that happens too, where you're like, you should stop drinking coffee. And you're like, but no. That's a huge one for me. Like there's these things. So what is it that your intuition, your guides are telling you right now that are some things that are not in integrity with where you're going? Maybe there's 2 things, maybe there's 3 things. Just let's take a moment and I want you just to feel, did anything come up for you? I know Jane right away was like yoga classes. And you don't have to share with me. If you want to share, you can. If you want social accountability. So when I see you online doing that thing in 2 months from now, I'm just teasing. I wouldn't do that. No more one-on-one coaching clients. Yes, Alicia, that's what I had to do. I had to do that last year because I was like, I can't trade my time for money anymore. And it's just keeping us in the small space of where we're not. Better follow up. Yeah, but April, that's something that you're going to start doing. What do you have to stop doing? See, this is the thing. To add something new, we have to also let go of something. This is part of the making space. It's just like the natural way that things work. If I'm going to start waking up early at 6 a.m. because I want to write from 6 to 8, I got to stop staying up at night watching Netflix, right? Like, so something has to exchange. Letting go of consuming versus creating. Yes, we were just talking about that in my group the other day. Let go of a few friendships, selling the old way. Watching so much Netflix. Yes. So I'm not anti-Netflix. I'm down for the play, the pleasure, the exploring. And so somebody asked, what was that thing that I watched on Netflix where I got this breakthrough that I realized about energy? It's called Surviving Death. It's very interesting. It's about mediums, it's about near-death experiences, physical seances. I've only gotten into 2 of the episodes, but it's interesting. And any of us that work in the spiritual world or are interested in this kind of stuff, I think it's interesting to watch. So all right, so you see the things that you have to let go of. Now I want to talk about really the vision of where you want to go, what you want to be, and that oh shit, oh shift, scary thing that's happening this year. You know that if you really anchored in and had a no, like effing around, non-negotiable for yourself, you know that your life could dramatically change this year. This is for all of us, right? What is that goal for you? What is that intention for you? What is that creation for you? And I want you to see, who would you be? Like, who would you be if you just really took this so damn seriously? If we think of an athlete that is serious about going into the Olympics, they're going to hire a nutritionist, they're going to hire a physical coach, likely a mindset coach. Like, they're supporting themselves so deeply. But there's so many women that have these goals, but they're fantasies. They're fantasies. Because they're fantasy, because the way that you're showing up shows that that goal means nothing to you. It means nothing. The kind of conversations you're having, the things you're entertaining, the way that you treat yourself, the way you invest in yourself. And I don't take money as an excuse to invest or not, because you all know my story. When I was broke as hell on welfare, I was still finding ways because it was a non-negotiable for me. I understood. I saw the success pattern. I have never met someone that was successful in an online business and had radical success and then was like, I just don't invest in myself. I've never heard that. In fact, the people that I look up to the most, I hear their stories about taking big risk all the time. So I took something from that. I'm like, all right, well, I noticed there's a clue about risk involved. And what I know about our businesses and our big scary goals, it's not just financial risk, it's emotional risk. Some of you, it's not even financial. I've met women that are like, oh, I can pay it, it's on my credit card, but I don't know if I'm ready. And if you don't know if you're ready, there's a few things that pop up in this edge here. I don't know if I'm ready to be vulnerable enough to be coached. I don't know if I'm vulnerable enough to be in this group. I don't know if I'm worthy of being in this group. I don't know if I go and do this thing, are people going to like it, buy it? Are people going to reject me? Am I good enough to show up as this now? And I have to let you know that in the beginning, no, you're not going to be the person that you envision. You just got to keep getting better and better. I remember when I did these things and I was like one person on the other side. Sarah Hibbert, she's not on this one, but she's been my client for many years, but like, it was awkward as hell, but I just knew this was like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's your like, rite of passage. People want to go to the $1 million or the $100,000 or the $10,000 a month, no rite of passage. Like there is a rite of passage, but your soul's rite of passage is unique. You're going to come up against the things, the lessons, the triggers, the, oh my God, that's uncomfortable stuff, so that those things can come up and you can see your shit. Right? Like one of the women that's in the mastermind, she was talking to me, she was like, I just took these women in this group, they feel like they have such bigger goals. They have so much more money than I have. And I'm like, great. That means you got the most to learn. You got the most to grow here financially. So step in. You can either walk away and carry this wounding, or you can work through it now. And on the other side, I can't wait to hear about the miracles that are happening for you. But we have one of two choices all the time. So knowing this, knowing that there's this emotional risk, what makes it better for us? Not fucking doing it alone. We cannot do it alone, ladies. We cannot do it alone. You don't know how many times I'm all Voxer with my friends that I've met at different masterminds or in different retreats and things, because I will only ask them because they have the same level of emotional risk and financial risk as I do. They have just as much skin in the game. I'm not going to ask the average person working a 9 to 5, what do you think about my team right now? What do you think about how I should invest in this mastermind? What do you think about hiring a CFO? They don't understand that. So when we spend time with people that have the same kind of issues, it changes the game, because yes, there's a emotional risk and a financial risk, but you know that you're not doing it alone. And it really changes things for women, because there's a level of exhale that happens when we circle up with women to do the work. There's a level of safety and support that is intrinsic in who we are and how we operate as women, that we get to let our kind of hair down and we get to be vulnerable. But here's the thing. Are you willing to be vulnerable, not only in your creations, but also in your receiving? And I want to talk about this on a scale from 1 to 10. How vulnerable have you allowed yourself to be in creating and in receiving? Because they're actually one and the same. The more that you feel safe and feel totally loved and supported, the more you can go out there and F up. And you don't care. All right, if I go do this live event and only 20 people show up, I'm talking about like a big live event, like my Harmonious Hustle. I didn't care. I was like, you know what? I'm loved, supported, worthy anyway. We'll see what happens. It actually was very profitable. I had my biggest financial month at that time. And women had a great time. But it was like, I had to be okay, but I'm okay because I have my circle and I know that. So what is your honest assessment of self, of being vulnerable in the creation and receiving, which means that you're totally willing to let people in? 1 to 10. 1 is like, nobody's getting in. Even if I was in a group, I'm only sharing these surface level things. And like I'm only putting cute little photos on Instagram. That's not it. Like that's part of it. But there has to be more. So Amber says 7. I'm going to tell you why there has to be more. April says 9. Karen's 5. I don't feel like that right now. Probably a 2. Okay. All right, so Jane, with the every time I get nervous, I feel like it's going to fail. So that's really an outdated voice that we need to work with. Like we have to know that we're trained and we're either accustomed to following fear or following faith. So now I'm so used to following faith and being ridiculous. I don't care what anyone else says. I also trust that voice. And I know when something is more of a fear misalignment versus fear because I feel unworthy, or I feel unready, or I feel like I'm scared that the money won't come. I'm learning the difference. So we have to start having a period of time where we can just keep honoring the faith. We have to be in miracle consciousness. So I see the 3s, the 5s, the 9s and 10s, sweet. So here's the thing with this, letting people in. I have learned this because the first 2 years of my business, I didn't want to let anyone in. I had like trust issues with the coaching industry, and I would let my spiritual teachers in, but I would only do spiritual stuff. And then I would go to Tony Robbins events and that was fun, but that was it. And when it came to private coaching and I hired my first private coach, I realized why I did it. because it is very vulnerable to let someone into your space. It's so vulnerable to let them in. Of course, I was letting spiritual practitioners in, but to let someone in and you feel like I've been doing this wrong or not good enough is a very vulnerable place to be. It's also a powerful place to be because then you can grow. So now I'm like, all right, deep breaths. Let me go in. What do you see here? Like what tell me what you're seeing that I'm not seeing here, because I'm very willing to grow. But because I don't know if it's because of my past, I'm not going to even psychoanalyze this shit, but let's just say this. My armor was up so much that I wanted to protect myself and I didn't want to let that in. And maybe at an early stage it was good, because there's also people that I see that take everything their coaches say and they run with it and they're so in it that they can't let that go to create their own, right? So there's no really right or wrong. The key is here to know when you're doing it because you're trying to have this self-defense mechanism and you're trying to protect yourself and you don't want to be wrong, versus allowing yourself to just be vulnerable and grow. And I see this too with in some of my groups that I'm running, where women will come in and they don't get to the real issue. They want to skate around it. So it's important to know, how surface are you in these things? And this is why this is important. In these times, we are craving more and more and more humanness. Humanness is amazing. One of my favorite people to listen to and watch is Glennon Doyle. She's so human. She doesn't give a shit about building her TikTok account. She doesn't have to. She doesn't have to be on Clubhouse every 10 minutes. She focused on what she's meant to do, is write life-changing books. And she did it so well, so human, so vulnerable, that it lets us know that we're not alone if you read the readers. Now, not everyone's meant to be a Glennon Doyle, right? I know I'm not. I feel like I'm a mix between Gabby Bernstein and Glennon Doyle. If there was like a middle ground, that's where I am, right? With some business thrown in. But you are you. But we got to get to know you. You got to let yourself out. And if you're not letting people in, likely you're not letting your true self out. And that true self is that fire, that heat, that people are like getting around the fire and they're like, I got to get closer. What is this? And I've seen this with my clients. I've seen it with myself, where women are like, what do you have going on right now? I want to work with you. They don't even carry the container. They're just like, I want to be in this space. I want to be in this energy. So for you ladies out there that are creating and calling people in, the energy is the first calls. You've got to get your energy big. Your energy has to be magnetic. And how do you do that? By just letting go and fully being you. But you have to feel safe. You have to feel safe to do that. So I want you to close your eyes for a moment, and I want you just to work with your body for a few moments here. And this again takes this level of radical honesty and willingness, because we want to let down the protection mechanisms that we hold on to as women. And if you're a woman like me that has been through different assaults and has been a single mother or has had financial things, there's a lot of safety, like nervous system wanting to protect. So I want you just to take 3 deep breaths on your own pace and not rushing through them. I want you to savor these breaths. I want you to go in with the breath and let it be a very sweet, savoring breath. It's almost like a homecoming to yourself. And there's so much wisdom and information right here in your body. And to access it, you have to be available for it. Your body has to feel safe. Your psyche has to feel safe. Like everything has to feel safe and supported, so that you can really allow that flower that we spoke about to blossom even more. So tuning into your body, do you feel safe in general? A way to connect to the way that you feel safe is to notice when you're going to sleep at night, do you tend to loop? Mental loops. Does your body tend to be on edge? Are you jumping at the littlest things? Do you constantly find yourself in a place of, this isn't good enough? And not from a place of, I could do better, but in a place of, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. And how do you feel when you get up on a virtual stage? Maybe you're creating a video. Maybe you're hosting an experience like this one. How does your body respond? When you're working with your finances, looking at the income that's coming in, looking at your bank accounts, looking at any investments accounts, looking at your payroll that you're paying out to people, money that's owed, your debt. How does that feel in your body? Is there a sense of safety and you feel secure, connected to true source and supply? Or do you feel not safe, not secure? And just notice what your body tells you. Just like an orgasm, your body has to feel safe to orgasm. For you to have these beautiful insights in your most profound breakthroughs, your body, you must feel safe. You must know that you are loved, and all of this is self-sourcing. It's all self-sourced. No one else is going to give it to you. But when we are in certain containers, when we are around other people that are doing this work also, we begin to let the armor down and meet ourselves fully. When we are witnessed, when someone else can witness you without trying to fix you, without judging you, and sees you in your wholeness, you remember your wholeness. You begin to wake up to it. So I want you to think about the last time that you felt just so incredibly held and safe. It could be at any time. It could be yesterday. It could be last year. When's the last time you felt incredibly held and safe? And take a moment to just breathe that moment in. Allow yourself to fully experience it in your body, because your body is having the experience right now. Soon as you envision it, soon as you remember, your body is going into that experience. And when you feel safety, there's a biochemical reaction. It's healing. It's healing. So allowing that safety, feeling it, remembering it, inviting it in as a way of being. And I want you to tune in and ask, what are some ways that you can make yourself feel safe, supported, cushioned, loved on, amplified, so that you could step fully in and be so excited, so proud, but also have the abundant experiences that come with you taking those intentions and goals absolutely seriously. What are some of the things? What are some of the ways that you can really anchor in? If you took it seriously, if you were in a non-negotiable, if you wanted to be at the top of your game, this isn't about your industry, this is the top of your game. Because there are rewards to that. There are freedoms. There are options. There are experiences and generosity and circulation and abundance and joy that will come from you having that level of fulfillment and staying loyal to what you know is possible for you. Because if we do not meet our potential and honor our potential, it will haunt us. It will haunt you. And it haunts you with anxiety, it haunts you with depression, it haunts you with comparison and jealousy and not enoughness. But if you meet it and you're willing to meet it, you get fulfillment, you get growth, you get support, you get to meet yourself as the miracle. So let's take 3 deep breaths together here. Deep breath in. Letting go of anything that is bubbling up during this time. Deep breath in again, filling yourself up fully through the nose. Hold it. And I want you to gather anything in your physical body, energetic body, emotional body that needs to be released. And then let it out. One more time, filling yourself up this time with that discipline, that higher choice, that harmony, willing to meet yourself halfway, meet the universe halfway, holding yourself full, and just feel into what it would be like to take your intentions and goals absolutely seriously and meet that potential, meet it fully. Feel into it and then let it go. So I now speak this word for each and every one of us, knowing that we are all here because there is a calling on our heart. That deep down we know that we have been invited to step into our next level self. And beyond that, we're being invited to play in the quantum field, collapsing these timelines, letting go of the way that we think it should work out, paying attention to how. We are showing up knowing that our energy is the key. We make our energy big, we make our hearts open, we let down our armor, and we are willing to shine. And we trust in this, and we embrace it, and we let this be. And so it is. So ladies, how did that feel for you? Were you able to connect to safety? Were you able to feel into where you may have not felt as safe? All right, there's so many things. So I took you down to the dark, and then I took you to the light. So just noticing where you're at. We're just noticing where we're at. And we have to understand that women, we have not felt safe to use our voice. We've not felt safe. This is ancestral, right? That we've not been safe to use our voice. We've not been safe to be the leader. That these things are not what we've been taught naturally. So there's a great unlearning that's happening. And safety is everything. And we have to keep acclimating ourselves to safety, right? And there's ways that we set ourselves up into this, right? So for me, the work that I do with women is I help them embody safety. And the women that have done things like Money Miracles, the women that have done the method, that learn how to teach this to other women, they begin to just show up around their money, to show up around relationships, to show up around speaking their truth and creating in a different way, because their safety is no longer attached to it. And things change. But it's not just about the teaching, it's also about being surrounded by women that are also embodying this work. It's everything. So the reason I share all of this is because here's what I know. Out of my list of thousands of people that are on there, I know that there's 3 people. 3. I'm only asking for 3 that are a good fit to go on this 9-month journey that I have with me, my Miracle Vision Mastermind. Now, this is not for everybody. You can't just go to the website and sign up for it. It's not for everyone. I'm looking for a certain kind of woman that is playing a big game and that is all in on her goals and intentions this year. And not all in on her goals and intentions because she wants to hustle, but she wants to activate her own miracle vision, open up her heart, and begin to change her field. Changing your field is a different approach to doing your business and meeting your goals than time blocking. Time blocking is great, do it. But there's a different thing that happens when you open up your field and you begin to change what's happening there. There's also the women that join this have to be willing to travel. We have a luxury spiritual immersion retreat at the end of April here in Austin at a fabulous resort. And then we have Harmonious Hustle that is going to be a live event this year. It's also going to be virtual, depending on how people feel in the fall. You have a VIP immersion day with me. There's private coaching. There's the Sisterhood. Lauren Dorsey is already in it. Michelle Winiger, is she still on here? Where did she go? I think she left, but Michelle Winiger's in it. These women have big goals, they're doing big things, but they're also in a space of mastery. This is not for women that are just kind of like, my goal's cute, and then I'm going to go run away from it for a month, and then I'm going to come back to it. No, these are women that are like, we are here for great legacies, and we're also here because there's a great potential that is emerging through me, and I want to facilitate this. So if you're one of these 3 women that want to go on this journey, it's just once a year. It's just happening right now. And I'm actually closing the final 3 spots, whether they're filled or not, in a few days. So if you're called and you're interested, if you'd like to apply, you can apply on the site or reach out to me. I know Amanda, who's on here, she's actually in this as well. I don't know if she's on here still live. Her and I were just DMing, voice memoing. And that's how I can get a good feel too. So reach out to me if you have any questions. I would love to chat with you. But I would say this, ladies, it's everything. Accountability, being around women that are playing a big game. I'm talking excellence, not comparison to anyone else, your own inner excellence, not getting in your own way, not feeding into your own fears. This is about what would happen if for 9 months we just totally lived in our miracle vision. And I want you to know, remember what I shared about that seance? We're not calling in any ghosts and spirits, so don't worry. But what happened in that seance and what happens in this group, when you and I go into that meditation for those 5 minutes, it's so much deeper and I have so much more happening in my body than when I sit in my office for 5 minutes and do that. I'm seeing heads nodding, right? It's because our energy is here collaborating. We cannot do the same thing on our own. So saying you're going to do meditation for 5 minutes by yourself every day or 30 minutes every day versus getting in a group where we're doing this together for 9 months, things change. And I'm going to share this here now because I think that this will inspire some of you. I told the ladies I was going to announce it Monday, but I'm just going to announce it now. We have the first 2 guest coaches in this group. This is a very intimate group. There's only 10 women. So the people that are coming in to do guest coaching are going to do intimate coaching and teaching with the ladies. The first one is my friend Annabelle. She's doing the activation of the light body and Christ consciousness. She does deep womb work. She's been healing on my body for a while, and she's one of my best friends. The second is Marie Claire. If you all know Marie Claire is like a walking ray of freaking abundance. Like you're in her presence and she changes lives. So we have these teachers that are also coming in and they are going to not only share a lesson, but they are going to coach the ladies. The ladies can ask them whatever they're moving through in their relationships, in their business, with their money. So you have so much that's supporting you. And if you are someone that is ready to fully immerse yourself in this, no hiding. This is no hiding. And put some money in the game like I'm doing with my book coach, this will be a life-changing experience for you. So reach out to me if you feel called. We have 7 women now. We have 3 more spots, and I would love to invite you in. But again, you have to be in the States. You have to be in the States. You can travel, and you have to be open to all these things. So if you'd love to join or you're interested in learning more, please reach out. I'm actually going to get a vampire facial right now. So wish me luck. I don't know if anyone's had one of those, but it seems a little scary, but I'm going to go try it out and we'll see how it goes. So I'm probably not going to be on video for 24 hours. So I hear my face is going to get red and puffy. So yes. So I'm interested in seeing how it goes. We'll see. I'll probably share. Wait, somebody said I wanted to, but check it out. Whose name is that? Oh, Lord. I know. Today I woke up and I was like, oh, I feel a little nervous about this, but I don't do a ton of this stuff, but I'm like, I'm 38. Let me try this a little bit. All right. So yeah, I see a lot of people. Lisa messaged me, one of our mutual friends does it. Yeah, I'm curious. I'll let you ladies know how it goes. So anyway, ladies, if you want to join energetic financial wealth full on, join us in the Miracle Vision Mastermind. It's going to be really powerful. All right, ladies. Bye.